Welcome back to Week 10, Day 4 of the LPL. We are closing in on playoffs very rapidly. I know we're a little bit behind the rest of the world, but we're getting there. We're trying our best. We've made the move over to Chongqing in the Snake Pit, but we're still here though. Movie magic. My name is Pulse. This is Frost. How are you doing?
Pretty good. We got the entire arena to ourselves as we cover this game in Chongqing in our Shanghai home base, and I believe this is going to be the last regular split or regular game in Chongqing today.
It is indeed, yes. Snake don't play any more games in Chongqing, and they will be moving, of course, into playoffs, which are played in Chongqing. So we get best of luck to Snake in this series because they have to win it. The fact that we saw BLG win their series 2-0 today means if Snake lose here, they're third.
And that is effectively the difference on moving the opposite side of the bracket. So if Snake do not win here, they will be on the same playoff bracket as Suning Gaming, Rogue Warriors, and Edward Gaming. Whereas currently, BLG are sitting with RNG, Team WE, as well as Invictus Gaming on their side of the bracket.
So what you're saying is almost a choice right here. They look at Team WE and it's just like, actually, which side of the bracket do we want?
That's definitely what I'm saying. It is the difference between, ending up in round one versus having a quarterfinals bye. Again, the LPL gauntlet or playoff system is a weighted gauntlet. So the higher seed that you end up, the farther you're slotted into it. And it means you're one best of 5 away from Rift Rivals. So you win some, you lose some.
I mean, it obviously makes a big difference as well because the fact that it's a weighted gauntlet, as you said, like in the first round, even just having that one extra win we've seen has completely demolished some teams coming in at the very bottom.
It is really devastating. Like, not to throw shade, but we played 292 games so far. NA and EU played 95 and 98, so we've already lapped them just on normal games played. And then coming into like third versus fourth, the NA and EU LCS playoffs are like, oh, we'll give you, some team's gonna get a bye. We're like, no. If you come in fourth, you're not just playing a best of 5. The guy across from you is playing a best of 3 because he gets a point advantage in the best of 5. That is absurd.
And he seems to have to make really long runs as well. If you start at the very start, you have to play like 15 games, possibly 15 games heading into the finals. So trying to make that run all the way from the bottom, there's a lot of reason to try and get those higher seeds here for Snake. But they will be facing down Team WE today. And while Team WE have definitely had some of their own struggles, is it as much as Snake's own troubles? Because they're both colliding now in the same game.
So the question is what is wrong with Snake right now? And I think I have it nailed down. Again, no one will ever question the individual talent that roster is capable of. Someone like SOFM, we credit him all the time. But I actually think the primary problem is SOFM. And the question now is, does SOFM change or does Snake change? Because right now we're in a meta that is very reliant on heavy ganking junglers. There's less gold than there was before in the actual jungle camps. You can get away with ganking more, trying to snowball lanes. It's a very mid-focus meta because Baron is so much more powerful. Getting those early dragons means so much more because Elder is so much more powerful later on. But SOFM is a farm-heavy jungler. And unfortunately, Snake lose all of their lanes right now on 8.5, 8.4 meta shift. They're no longer the lane-dominant team that they once were. And you cannot be a heavy farm jungler and have your lanes lose. You have to pick one there because SOFM is about controlling the enemy jungle through invading him, stealing away his experience, creating that tempo lead for him, and then challenging him head-to-head versus ganking a lane repeatedly. And it's almost like that's the easier way. So SOFM either gank the lanes repeatedly or Snake lanes stop losing and protect SOFM, let him play his style.
But the interesting thing about you targeting out SOFM is that pretty much everyone else looks at Snake and it's like, Crystal's the problem, swap out the ADC, put Light in. But you're saying it's the jungle.
Yeah, I am saying the jungle. Now, don't get me wrong. The bot lane is definitely a problem. Again, the primary reason why SOFM is being exposed is because his lanes are losing, which means there's nothing he can do. He wants to farm his jungle. He wants to invade. He can't invade if they've already lost.
Sure.
And that does fall on someone like Guoguo and Crystal's shoulders. Even Flandre, who's not performing as well in recent weeks, although still probably one of the stronger performances on that team. And frankly, the difference between the two AD carries, there isn't a lot of options.
For sure, but if you do look towards someone like towards Crystal, you're looking for the fact that he is a veteran player. He can bring a lot to the team in terms of his opinion on what to do next. But you look towards Light, definitely superior mechanics. Though we haven't really seen Light, forgive the pun, find his time to shine, really, on the team because he comes in and the team is already failing and then his stats very much reflect that.
Yeah, the problem is that you have a very young, inexperienced ADC player who has a lot of hype building around him. Light is supposed to be one of these prodigy marksman players, but like you said, he comes into a house that is already on fire and all he's got is a bucket of water. There's not a lot that he can do right now because Snake are looking at going on a 4-series loss streak if they lose here. Currently, 3-series loss streak right now, and they need to pull up.
They do. They will be starting Crystal today, though, alongside Hudia in the bottom lane, alongside Guoguo, SOFM, and Flandre in the top side of the map here for Snake.
And when things go right for Snake, when they win their lanes, when SOFM is unleashed, they are a very powerful, very unique team in the LPL. One of the few to play around their jungle, but it just has not been clicking for them recently.
Yeah, a team who rocketed to the top of the standings, but they'll be facing down Team WE with Celestial, Mystic, Shie, Magic, and 957. I don't know why I started at the support, but there you have it. That'll be the lineup for Team WE today.
And I'm going to shut you down, Twitch chat. I don't care about Condi or Ben. It is all about Magic and Celestial. This is your Team WE roster. This is the roster that's most likely going to be carrying them into playoffs. So get to know these faces and these names really well. Magic and Celestial in particular have been picking up more and more MVPs, so they're starting to fill those big shoes that Ben and Condi left behind.
It's also, there was a blueprint coming into the team, because Magic looked at it and was like, excellent, I go mid lane, I gank for Shie, we win, because Shie is big and he will carry us in team fight. So it's almost like there was a formula, whereas when you look at a lot of teams who are plugging in players into their team, it's just like, well, go, fly free. And you look at Light and it's like, oh, what do I do? And then we just lose the game anyway. So I feel like the problems for WE were plugged in by these players.
My favorite thing is when you imitate players, you make them sound like easy bake ovens. Yes, I will gank this lane. I don't know why my Easy Bake Oven is talking to me, but that's fine.
I don't know. I mean, everyone has their own way of portraying like other people's voices. That happens to be mine. Don't throw shade.
The angry mom voice. No, but I agree with you. Team WE, they had a blueprint. The fact that Shie is one of our best performing mid laners at the split, probably either second or third best. He was definitely very high in Rusty's rankings. I'll have to double check that one. But now it's just a question of it's a incredibly powerful mid laner versus an okay mid-tier mid laner, and an incredibly powerful jungler versus the brand new kid on the block. Now, Magic and Shie's MO is they gank a lot. Magic has the highest kill participation of any player in the league, not just of junglers right now. And he just sits, helicopter parents around Shie's lane, and he just waits for his moment. SOFM is not going to do that with Guoguo. He's not there to babysit him. Guoguo is there to empower SOFM. So which of these styles is going to win out?
Yeah, and I guess what I'm prodding at here is which team do you think has the advantage coming in?
Team WE.
Team WE are going to take it safe for us, and we're going to send it over to the casters to get us into game.
Thank you so much. My name is Diggity Dom, the Bomb.com roamer. This is Zach. We're about to get in the game with WE and Snake.
I didn't even need a full name.
And look, this is going to be a pretty fun matchup because as we heard from the desk, WE has incentive to win. Snake has incentive to not play against Invictus Gaming. So the question is, which of these two styles is actually going to prevail for these two teams? You know, Frost posed the question on the desk, does SOFM change or does Snake change to match the current shifting meta? Or will Snake find themselves caught underneath the rolling stone of Team WE?
I mean, that is always going to be the place you have to explore when Snake play a game of League, is what will SOFM do in this instance? And does the side of Snake, does the whole team of Snake actually want to shift to the one member's choices, to the fact that he has always played a very linear style, and that is jungle-centric, jungle-focused, loves the Raptor camps, loves going and invading and getting an experience lead. But I do think that ultimately his lanes are the problem, and if SOFM has to change, it's because his lanes aren't working well enough around his style that works incredibly well. So through the draft phase, they're on blue side. I hope to God they pick a jungler in their first 3 picks this time around Snake, and they set themselves up to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how this works out for them. WE actually had side selection and chose red side for this game 1. So Snake obviously very happy with that, as their win rate on that blue side is significantly higher. 18 wins and 6 losses on blue as compared to red, which is 5 wins and 11 losses. Of course, many strong power picks could enable the likes of their solo lanes. Guoguo and Flandre are the 2 that we primarily look at, but it looks like they're listening to you, Zach. That's Sejuani locked in.
My name's Rusty, mate. Come on. They do. They look in the Sejuani. I think the Vladimir's also the other place you'll have to look at now that the Swain and the Ryze have both been removed. 2 of the 3 flex picks between mid and top lane that they would like to put in effect for themselves. WE on the opposite side, they see the Sejuani, they see the Zarya ban. It does make a lot of sense to lock down a Caitlyn if you want here and continue along that priority, that train of thought. Shie is still a prolific Karma mid lane player.
Yes.
This time around, though, they don't go for the early rotation of a Morgana. They pick the Tahm Kench.
And that's sort of where we have to look to who is the primary carry that WE look towards. Is it Xie, who's been stepping up early on in the split, or is it Mystic, who has been doing some pretty good work over this past week, but still has yet to come into that semi-final form at Worlds that he had a few months ago? Olaf is actually the answer, though, for WE.
Yeah, they locked themselves in the jungler as a response to the Sejuani. It's curious that they've chosen to go for that as their second pick when the Sejuani was already seen on the opposite side. They don't prioritize their AD carry, and perhaps that is a sign of the times here that they want to pick a different lane. Maybe it's not Mystic that gets the early focus. He still has the likes of the Tristana, the Ezreal, these other AD carries there for him in the repertoire. It could actually be a mid laner. It could be a top laner as a priority.
It very well could be, as WE now look across from a Camille and a Braum. Immediately, the Shen answer from 957. What better way to block true damage than a dodge zone? Well, a block zone.
Yeah, Shen is an interesting one here. Of course, it's not going to be in the support role given the Tahm Kench, and you're right, it does do well into the Camille matchup. It has always been the champion that has been picked into it since Camille's inception into League of Legends. I will say that the Shen is not always going to do near as much work as a Camille can in terms of damage, and right now they've got an Olaf and they've got a Tahm Kench. Their damage is severely lacking, and it's the carries that are about to get focused from WE away from them in the second ban phase.
It's actually been interesting to see Snake take that Camille for Flandre in the top lane, because we've been asking the question, who is going to change the style for WE? Is it SOFM turning towards a more gank-oriented style, or is it Snake prioritizing their lanes so that they don't fall behind? So far, they've got Braum, who is one of the highest win rate supports in the league, very, very high play rate, and Camille, who has been huge in the top lane. We're still looking for Guogo and Crystal, though, who are the two big carries for Snake.
The Taliyah, the Ryze, the Cassiopeia, and the Azir have all been taken away. Zoe as well as Swain. Swain being a flex, of course, but primarily a mid laner. All of these mid lane bans removed. You do look to the likes of, say, an Orianna for Guogo, honestly, as a champion that he may pick. Xie still has that Karma if the goal here is to pick a hyper carry more like the Tristana, and they do have a composition for that team WE. The Kog'Maw's removed. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and pick the Tristana and soak the early game disadvantage if they have complements of the Tahm Kench.
We are still looking towards both AD carries. Varus still open, still very popular. Xayah was banned away by Snake. Of course, Caitlyn could be an answer, perhaps even an Ezreal for Team Snake, as Varus is locked in again for Mystic.
Varus is the champion of choice. They don't go towards the raw ranged hyper carry, the late game hyper carry. They commit themselves to the low range, good lane control, and good engage for the side as well. Varus, Tahm Kench, usually a duo that does go hand in hand, roaming around the rift, hitting level 6 and killing lanes where they're weakest.
Ooh, Galio being the look from Snake, being looked at. And suddenly this is a very mobile composition. Galio pairs excellently with SOFM's invade style of play that he prefers so much.
This still needs to be a damage dealer. They've got a Camille that's going to be in the top lane. They've got the Galio. Yes, Galio does build AP right now, so it does a fair amount of damage, but you're looking more so at the wombo. Sejuani Braum, the stun combo. Camille Galio, the area combo as well when they make the arena and they knock them down in it. Jhin actually complements this incredibly well by being able to sit back, distance himself from the entire team, and not have to be a part of the combo right now. He can just use that ultimate and outrange all the damage that would be going towards him, and the likes of a Varus can't close that distance.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's very difficult, though someone who might be able to is Corki, locked in for Xie here in the mid lane. Of course, the best way to do that is with a package, which requires some pretty big back timing communication from Team WE. And I like to imagine right now Snake's coach is just saying, find someone and then everyone go in. Just pile into the back line and kill them.
There is a very real scenario here for Snake where they actually try and emulate what we saw from RNG in their past set as well, where you actually have the Galio Camille going in tandem and you set up your lane assignments to try and kill the side laner. And for what it's worth, I think 957 has done a very smart thing here and going towards the Shen, playing the tank, trying to counteract that. And of course, the combo was against the Swain last time, so a little bit different here. Snake have to adapt to the state of the game, and I do think that Jhin, Galio, and Camilla, as the combos go, is a bunch of damage now. They have been able to round it out. I was questioning perhaps the Jhin may not be as much damage as you'd want from, say, a hyper carry, but it doesn't matter too much because the AP Galio is there.
Well, we'll see how this rounds out as Team WE, still trying to recover from that semifinals form they held just 6 months ago, are now chasing down higher seeding in the playoffs. Team Snake doing the same as BLG, Snake, and WE are all fighting for seeding as we move towards playoff. And again, this is the last series we're going to see out of Chongqing for the remainder of spring 2018. And it is absolutely packed to the brim as these two massive teams, massive brand names, are about to go head-to-head.
That's certainly right. As they clash, there is still a lot on the line. Team W with their eye in if the stars align. Snake, they do want that victory, but it's not always going to be the victory that you want. It's just the victory that has been thrust upon you. We lost a ban here in this draft phase as well, Dom. It seems to have gone completely missing. Not that anything massive was locked in as a result of that, curiously enough.
Yes, and there still is a chance for these two teams to face each other in playoffs, depending on how the seeding works out. But as it is, we have loaded onto the Rift for Game 1. Absolutely packed stadium. And let me tell you, after having been in that stadium, it really does shake the bleachers. It is quite loud.
Yeah, still one of the most passionate places that we have seen of all the stadiums that we've got in the LPL right now. That is for certain. They love the games, they love League of Legends, they love Snake, but you could even hear the roars for Team WE. They just support League. And they're excited to be here for what is the last game in Snake's home pit arena for the regular season.
And that does put a lot of pressure on Snake to win this series if they want to try to claim second place and get one best-of-5 away from locking in a Rift Rivals seed. But still, they have to worry about the other side of the bracket. If they find themselves in second place, they're going to end up on the same side as Team Invictus Gaming, who look nigh unstoppable as we head into playoffs. But still, 90 seconds happen. We've got our spawns, and we do have a leashless start from Magic on the top half of the map and a leash for SOFM on the bottom, as our runes now pop up as well.
That is the place we have to look first, not the runes where the junglers are starting, Dom. Now, Olaf being leashless on the top side usually does get quite low, but more so that Flandre placed a ward at the Raptors, so they will know full well of where that Olaf is. SOFM got a leash. He starts at his red buff, now working to Raptors of his own. He could choose to invade if he wants, knowing that Magic is going to have no mana, have no capabilities to try and fight against him, or he could continue to farm, get level 4 first, control the Scuttle Crabs, and try and get more vision for his team to ensure that Magic doesn't get a gank on after that first recall. You can see the conscious decision here from SOFM.
Yeah, it seems as though that's what it's going to be. He's hanging out on the bottom half of the map now, finishing off Wolves. Xie trying to control that mid lane against Guoguo, who's already forced to pull back just a bit with that Aftershock Galio. But the ward that was placed by WE just a few minutes ago is about to disappear in the river, and we'll see where SOFM likes to go because his favorite thing on the entire map, the enemy Raptors, are already gone. And he seems to have had some difficulty just making up his mind here.
Yeah, he's going to go towards the Gromp. I'm not sure if he was trying to double leash that and just missed the blue buff entirely. I'd have to imagine that's the case. It's a bit upsetting, actually. Well, we know where he's going to go next, Dom. Our question has been answered. He's done an oopsie daisies and is going to commit to the blue buff.
And look at that, Xie already tracking it as he steps out into the river. Take a look at some of the statistics here. His damage percent is the second highest of all mid laners for his team. His kill participation is the first highest of all mid laners. There is a reason he has been gaining so many MVPs. And you know, during Champions Select, we talked a little bit about how Karma enables Team WE, specifically Mystic, to step forward. And one of my biggest questions has been, how come we don't see Corki? How come we don't see the big carries from WE's mid laner?
It's about a style thing usually. You know, Xie, when he first existed, was playing the likes of the Diana. It was always running teleport though, and I think that his propensity to want to assist his team has always been a prevalent feature of him as a player individually. I think having a champion like Karma being in the meta is something that just enables that play style even further. Because Karma does damage, controls lane, is able to win the 1v1, but can also complement your AD carries on the opposite side. And during this time, Magic has been able to solo himself out the Drake.
Yeah, looks like a supportive style from the jungler of Team WE with a very early Infernal Dragon take. SOFM had no idea the entire time. You could even hear the crowd was cheering for that. And still, we do commend Magic for being a very gank-oriented jungler. Well, so far, he's set up those ganks to be a lot more impactful.
I wonder if you know, you came into this and we're like, maybe SOFM needs to change his styles. Curiously enough, we're seeing something slightly different from Magic himself.
Yeah.
A man who is obsessed with ganking, loves to get those ganks off, does hover around that middle lane. Well, now he's ganking.
There it is. That's what we were looking for. A flash from FLICKR. Does he have the hook shot ready
so
as Predator? And FLICKR just dashes away.
Still
Chase
coming.
Flash and the undertow. FLICKR has no escape anymore as he used his flash earlier. That's another undertow ready, but he's slowed by the tactical sweep. Lands another. SOFM and Guoguo are on the way, but Magic chucks it down. Undertow first blood.
SOFM's looking perhaps for a trade here.
There's no blast code for Magic to run to. A stun, and payback is a woman on a boar. Or a giant statue. There it is. Guoguo gets the kill.
Took a very long time to take down Magic, but the trade is there. SOFM, you know he's going straight to those Raptors. He's going to make it hurt. Xie may even try and defend them and stop Snake from getting that one down. The end result is that FLICKR dies. Magic with the Predator. My God, that lasts a long time. Just did circles trying to hunt down the Camille and does get it. That's big for Team WE. And it's also unexpected. He went towards the top lane. He focused 957's side of the map to get that kill going.
957 has been having some great performances lately in the LPL, specifically on his Gnar, but it might be his Shen this time that sets him up for success as Magic is caught once again in the jungle. FLICKR immediately finds him, and again, Magic is made to pay.
Gogo's a little bit late for the party, but it doesn't matter. They'll still get themselves the kill before it happens. Galio has no ultimate now, though, and Xie, knowing that fact, is stepping up. He might take him out here.
That's a teleport too. Xie, Valkyrie's forward. Guoguo still has flash, but Xie is low on mana. SOFM forced to back away with Hujie, and over the wall, Snake erupt from the brush. Xie is able to get a kill on Guoguo as 957 joins the fight. What on earth is this melee at level 5, level 6? Flash is going to be used. Celestial pulls FLICKR back, and that's another kill for 957.
WE just respond so well with the Shen ultimate first that you have to feel like Snake just forgot Shen existed. Ticks over to level 6, comes into the fight, and Xie, from a position where he does look caught, there was a teleport from Hujie to try and lock him down. Well, he wasn't really caught. You were stuck there with him, and they get that return kill and then some. Team WE step up to the plate on Snake's advances and make them pay.
And looking into the fight, we don't see Watchmen, but we see WE and Snake bashing against each other very early on, clearly taking this game quite seriously as they leap over the wall.
Yeah, flash from SOFM. Guoguo as well having to come back with no health. They probably shouldn't have taken this fight strictly because their health bars were already gone. They wanted to get the trade on a Xie and maybe just get out, but it was a cleanse in the first place from the Corki, and then the team comes here, they rally behind their mid laner, they rally behind the MVP of their team, and they do secure themselves the one skirmish.
And Unsealed Spellbook supports is pretty much the funniest thing. Wait, why is there a Braum coming out of my red buff? Oh, he has teleport, I see. I only imagine what Crystal and Mystic were thinking down in the bottom lane, like, okay, don't overextend. As here we can now see some jungle stats comparing the difference of styles between these two junglers.
So now's a pretty good time to discuss this, given that SOFM was low, fighting for the Raptors after Magic died, ganking, and trying to find the top laner. You can see 24th in jungle percent Magic, does not get camps.
And still, SOFM is chasing another kill to Snake.
Exhibit A, he's in the jungle. Magic doesn't get camps. On the opposite side, the experience difference at 15, the CS difference at 15 for the junglers here of SOFM is very high, second in the lead. It shows where he goes, what he focuses, and you saw the prime example of that just there.
Poor Magic, he's still only level 5. He has all of his team's deaths. Snake. I can only imagine Snake saying, wait, he took the dragon? All right, let's make him pay. And then SOFM just tracks him down. Actually, what would SOFM say in that scenario? Would he just continue to run down, or is that just a standard, I'm going to chase the Raptor camp?
And now I can't speak for SOFM.
Sure.
I have a feeling his answer is, they took Drake, I'm going to the Raptors. And he doesn't say that, he pings on my way.
I see. Clearly, communication on higher levels at the top level of LPL play. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we talked briefly about how Mystic and Crystal had to go mono-e-mono for a brief time, and you could see Mystic is coming out on top, nearly 20 CS ahead as this wave crashes in.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty hard matchup for Jhin to try and 1v1, and if Varus has control of the lane, it tends to stay that way. Usually you want to have the Braum Q to enable slowing them down, chipping them out, and poking away until you are ahead. When the Jhin gets ahead, he'll usually stay ahead, and then he can 1v1 the Varus for the most part, but from that stage where all of the supports left and they teleported into other lanes, there was no real advantage down in that bottom lane 2v2. But right now we are seeing a point where the supports, they switch to teleport, so they don't have a defensive spell for bottom lane. They don't have their flashes, they use them in the fights that happened there as well when they teleported in. There is that moment of vulnerability down here where people could be putting their attention towards and looking at, but then you have to look at the junglers, the people that would be going down here. Magic can barely get a camp with an SOFM charging at him. He's working with Xie to try and circumvent that.
And look
so
at the
FM's
pings
jungling.
from WE. They were just roaming towards bottom, but look what spawned on the way. Ocean Dragon, as WE, famously dubbed the Elder Dragon team, might be setting up for it already as they engage the second dragon. Magic is already down to half, level 6 to level 7. SOFM walks up. Who's got the smite to secure? That's going to be a stun. Knock up and lockdown, stolen away by SOFM. He's snared, and WE can't make up their mind on the targets. They split and get nothing.
They don't get kills. The dragon is stolen away, so that is the worst possible end result for WE besides dying, losing the trade. But Snake were fairly split. It felt like they were trying to route WE around, and it never really felt like they were committing to the fight. So given what you could see from Snake and how WE played that, very tragic outcome for them ultimately in the end. I mean, 957 was still waiting in the wings with the ultimate available if they chose to commit. The Varus ultimate was even used in that last engage, but that was on the furthest away target, the wrong direction from where the rest of his team was going.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of miscommunication from the team, but they've still got plenty of time in this series to try to turn it around and get themselves back into this, as once again, SOFM presses into the jungle on that top half before ducking back out into the river. Flandre and 957 happily trading away. And look at Flandre's build. Double longsword. That's a Shen that hurts.
Oh yes, 957's probably committing to the Tiamat himself as well, the Titanic Hydra. But speaking of top laners, SOFM has no ult. There's no real risk there unless the Camille hit the hook shot.
Reaction dodge from 957 keeps him safe and allows him to continue farming, still matching the farm of Flandre, but hasn't got a chance to spend some of this gold that he's sitting on.
No, there will be a pretty big spend between the two of them. I think that 957, for the most part, you know, given that the Tiamat is there, Flandre has been locked down. Even if he did teleport with his ult to that bottom lane fight, may not have been optimal strength, given the build that he currently has for himself. Both due for a big recall, and perhaps this is why an opportunity does arise for SOFM. He pressured top lane, he existed, and he was able to exert enough and knows that Flandre's got the push. Mid lane, both recalling, both disappeared, gives him free time.
And that does mean Magic on the opposite side, the ganking jungler versus the farming jungler. Might be able to affect bottom, but decides instead to just take Scuttle Crab and head on in while SOFM finishes off the Rift Herald.
You go get that buff, mister. Wait.
Wait, he needs to take the Scuttle Crab first.
Well, he doesn't.
There he goes.
But he is. It's alright, he's got it.
That's the recall. Look at that. Now, look, it is efficient. Now he has the buff and he's recalling at the same time without having to move.
You know that half second that you spend waiting for the buff to actually be acquired awkwardly?
Yeah.
Even SOFM knows how to circumvent that. He times the Scuttle Crab, 300 IQ plays.
That's it. He's come up with a new recipe to try to get around the jungle of his opponents and just get that much more speed. But so far, it's a 1,700 gold lead for Team WE at the 13-minute mark. And Magic, the ganking jungler, he's not been able to exert as much pressure, I think, as he wants to. Take a look at his build as he now goes towards the Bomby Cinder into Cinder Hulk instead of Warriors on that Olaf.
Yeah, he's going to be building fairly tanky this time around, and it does make you wonder, you know, usually Olaf wants to have a degree of kill threat, but more often than not, they'll be going towards the tank build anyway, the Righteous Glory next. And it's just the early strength of the champion that usually gives you that kill threat. Just because SOFM's able to bully him out, there's no real opportunity to look towards an offensive build. He can't fight SOFM if he goes that way anyway, and his fighting against SOFM is usually just running away, unless there's backup to ensure that he stays alive. And he's been farming well. Magic's still in a decent position for himself. He's been able to catch up for the most part. He's just a little bit behind on XP.
And this seems to be where we look towards the composition of Snake to support SOFM in this endeavor, that they have the Galio to follow up on SOFM when he finds Magic, that there is the Jhin who can open up the ult from long range. You know, we asked the question earlier, who's going to change, Snake or SOFM? Well, has SOFM ever really changed his playstyle?
I don't believe so. It's very unlikely that he would, though. I do think the draft plays a decent amount into this. Shie's got control of mid, however, so it is risky for SOFM to continue to step up into the jungle.
Yeah.
But for the top side to be in control, it opens up the Rift Herald, perhaps a gank in top lane. The Krugs are always availabilities, and it's SOFM just using that one place that he has that's winning on the map while the rest is losing. But you have to remember, the rest is losing, and you're seeing that now.
Oh, that's actually the package to chase up to Crystal and the Stand United as Shie steps up, and everybody dives to kill Crystal. Hujae is forced to cleanse in order to escape. That's 5 members bottom to try to break it open, but first break is taken by SOFM and Herald.
Yeah, uses the Rift Herald in the top lane. Very smart from SOFM. Again, to trade. Snake are trading. It's an active attempt. It was a Jhin ultimate. He thought he was safe. You know, he thought the distance that he covered was large enough, but it's not against a Corki with a pack. It's not with a Shen, and not with a Tahm Kench. I do think that that was a mistake from Crystal in the end. He is made to die for it, unfortunately, whilst he thought he was in a super safe position.
And now that's 1 turret for 1 so far, but Snake did get that first brick, and while WE got the kill, they lose so much health on that top tier 2. The minions might even be able to finish it off as Snake come up very big in this play.
This is one of those moments where you wished that FLICKR had already recalled. The amount of money that he is about to spend with this purchase probably was that turret going down, and that's global gold. He bought an entire Trinity Force. He had about 3,800 gold just sitting there. Very tragic, because if that was a turret, say an extra bit of gold goes to Crystal or something like that, you know? Like, just say there's a bit more control on the map that goes over to Snake overall instead. That gives them pressure around the next Ocean Dragon that spawns. The second Ocean in the game, they could still look towards that.
And that's the gold that we were talking about. 957 spends his own for a Titanic Hydra. You can see the Triforce and Guinsoo's picked up by Shie and Mystic, as there was a lane swap initiated by WE to hold the fort down in the bottom lane. And it looks like WE are trying to up the tempo by pushing top, but SOFM is already set to break it as he roams bottom to look for 957.
I like that they brought Magic up to the top lane, though. They've decided that the Dragon isn't something they want to look towards. They've got 957 trying to defend, but he's fully respecting. The vision's there. They know that SOFM is nearby. And with this free time, because they all moved up there first, they do get themselves the tempo. It's pretty easy as a Varus and an Olaf to beat the tempo of a Jhin hitting turrets in particular, so they continue to push forwards. FLICKR can't answer, and the Shen, he can't answer on the bottom side either, but he still has that teleport and he's a tank to contribute to top lane if someone tries to get cheeky.
And this is where WE are able to make the more powerful play. Like you said, much more quick push from Team WE, and 2 turrets for 1, while Snake take 1 turret, and that's going to be their second Ocean Dragon. They are pinging towards the mid lane. That's actually the curtain call opened up as Celestial steps forward to protect Shie. They just line it up.
They get a lot of damage on a Shie, but it feels like WE are still pressing forwards.
Oh, ultimate goes in immediately. Magic breaks out of it, and Crystal again goes down. A knock-up onto 957 as Gogo joins the fight. But 5 members of WE so decisive in these plays.
Yeah, I respect the fact that they're able to get that pick. I really do enjoy watching what WE have just done in the past couple of minutes. They've gone from a downswing in tempo, perhaps losing a trade, to just outright winning one, going top lane, switching it up straight to mid lane, utilizing the Tahm Kench, and they're 1 step ahead of Snake consistently.
They certainly are, and it's been opening up advantages for them. 3 turrets to 2 right now, about going on 2,000 gold, a bit over the 1,700 from a moment ago, but no big explosive plays have really torn open the map and allowed complete control. But still, there's plenty of time for this game to explode later on as FLICKR suddenly finds himself facing down the Gatling gun of a level 12 Corki.
That's a dangerous Gatling gun at that. The way that Shie is currently playing, 2-0 and 2. It's gone towards the Trinity Force, has the BF sword as well, so maximizing his damage output as you would expect, but didn't go towards the range of a rapid fire cannon. Went straight towards the BF sword to maximize the raw AD output. And I like this a lot. Shie has been empowered in this game. He's been given the kills. He's got the Shen to protect him, so if he is a dive bomber and he does put out all of that effective damage, he's going to live for even longer whilst doing so. And then they may even sleep on Mystic throughout all of that.
We just get 957.
Yeah, we just get to see Crystal die, compliments of a Shen flash taunt.
Crystal had his flash there, but how on earth can you expect the range of that Shen when that was just so clean at the maximum range for that Shadow Dash?
It could be a field of view thing for Crystal as well. Perhaps he was too focused on the other people sprinting at him. But at the same time, if he had the flash, if he wasn't crowd controlled, usually you'll have to respect flash away from a Shen the second he dashes.
And this is where we commend 957 for stepping up lately for his team. That Gnar had a great performance. Now he's performing just as well on this Shen, though without flash it might be a little bit more difficult to surprise Shadow Dash onto a Jhin later on in these fights. And specifically what 957 brings, that veteranship, that solid bastion in the top lane, which allows Xie to step up and be this carry from the mid lane.
The last time we saw WE play 957 on the Gangplank had a fantastic showing, and he's proven that recently he can actually carry. If he isn't able to do so, then it's always a possibility. And now that he is 2-0-3 himself, respectively, he'll have Xie to work with, of course, but that dynamic duo should be more than enough to beat out Snake in this game, if they continue the way that they have played the last 5 minutes for the remainder.
That said, though, they still need to close this out as, whoa, they immediately dash onto Hujie. There's the Stand United. Hero's entrance is going to get a big 3-man knockup, but still, Hujie kiting it out in the back. 957 steps forward. That's a stun as SOFM comes in from behind. Now they've gone too far. Magic is dead again. The 4th death of his. A follow-up. Mystic gets caught, and he will die, but the kills are being traded over. Xie over the wall, trying to contribute best he can, but he cannot save his team. Celestial flashes, and 957 will go down. Crystal, without his team, he's got no vision. Blue trinket. Finally, Xie will trade it over, and that's the ace for Snake.
The Corki tries his little heart out, but it's not going to be enough to compensate. Team WE, they push way too far. They try way too hard, and they don't get themselves the kills. They don't get the team fights. We are at 20 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. They've got 2 Ocean Drakes. Snake straight over the Baron pit. They look to take this one down.
And that's the patience of the Viper, waiting for the right moment to strike instead of blindly dashing in. WE show themselves a vital mistake, a vital overextension, and Snake immediately punished. They're down to about 5,000 health,
Magic's
but here comes Magic. Over the wall, Sweeper, he's immediately engaged upon by Flandre. On the far side, he leaps and is over the Krug wall. That's Baron, picked up by Snake.
The MVP is Flandre at that Baron fight as well, pushing away the Olaf, no chance of the steal, and gets rid of the blast cone. That's the most important part. We watch the fight again. Now Hudier blocks himself being knocked to the side, it feels like, with the wall, with the door. And now they're stuck. From this position, WE, they should already be backing away, but they group up into the smallest of choke points against the Jhin, against the Sejuani, after they've already tanked for a significant amount of time. They push so far to try and find themselves Hudier and Guoko, who are fairly tanky members in the mid-game. They are made to pay for that once again. And Xie, I do think he had a fantastic fight here. The damage he was putting out was phenomenal, but he's not going to be able to do enough damage in this instance. He was definitely going to die.
And now Snake with the Baron buff have closed the gold gap to barely 300 between the two. Taking a look at the gold difference, it's 1,000 gold lead for Flandre in the mid lane. Still gold lead for Xie, but in the jungle another 900 for Snake. So huge prioritization for that top half of the map from Snake. Whereas it's Xie and Mystic bringing up the difference for Team WE. You've got to wonder who's going to do more damage later on, Sejuani Camille or Corki and Varus.
I don't think it's too much about Sejuani Camille in this instance. I actually would be looking at Galio Camille as the damaging combos, and if they're able to unlock a side lane. Say they catch the Shen, that's always dangerous. For the most part right now, however, they're grouping around the mid lane, they're breaking down the outer turrets, and they're trying to rotate with jungle control. It's not even about that combo, it's about having a numbers advantage as a 5v5.
With that numbers advantage, they break down the mid-tier 1. Infernal Dragon is up in 6 seconds. But Baron is still on for 2 minutes, and even though Flandre doesn't have teleport, he's split pushing quite happily to start opening up the map even more as Snake immediately 5-man turn towards that Infernal Dragon. It seems as though one of them was taken from them, and they decided never again.
All your drakes have belonged to me.
It's an older meme, sir, but it checks out.
They will get the Infernal, so it's not going to be 2 Infernals to Team WE, and you'll note that Xie, after the lost team fight, has committed towards the rapid fire cannon. Acknowledge that he does have a lot of damage as it is from the levels, but he needs to distance himself. He does need to respect still and have that excess range on poking people away from turrets so that he can auto attack and deal damage safely. I think that's what he's looking at right now. Adaptation from where he was building.
The turnaround from Team WE to try to get themselves back into this game as Snake are opening up the map. The tempo completely swings in the opposite direction as Snake are now the ones with pressure. And again, Snake, they are not a team that wins quickly. They have one of the longest win rates in the LPL, but now they find themselves setting the pace against Team WE with a high damage composition. Could this run against their traditional style?
I do think that's important, actually. Their average win time being super high against the team-fighting team like WE, that's where they excel. Snake give them opportunities, perhaps more than you'd want to give them when you're playing against them. So that's something that we'll have to continue to explore. Now, I mentioned Corky's items. I want to take a second to look at the AD carries instead, because that is a Blade of the Ruin King second by Mystic, opposed to what is usually the Runarn's Hurricane or the Zeal item. Bit of adaptation here from Mystic, and when you look at his opponents, Guoguo, Hudier, SOFM, all health stackers. Camille is actually a health stacking champion as well. In her hybrid damage and tank items, it's usually just going to be health. I like the Blade of Ruin King a lot.
We're going to have to see if Mystic can stay alive long enough, because now that's the decision for Celestial and 957. Who do we protect? Is it Mystic, who's had a bit of mispositioning issues lately? Or is it Xie, the MVP, who is on this massive quirky?
You can only control one of them.
Exactly.
Mystic stands still. He's going to be dealing damage.
That's...
You can save him at any time you want. You can't really keep up with Xie.
Yeah, and Mystic is the one who is taking heal, so perhaps even a little bit more beneficial health, whereas Xie will be rocking that cleanse, so looking more for the outplay instead of straight up sustain. But still, those are the hypothetical team fight scenarios. It actually comes down to the execution and if Snake can set up to find a pick in that sort of scenario. Because if it's 5v5 just running at each other, well, that's just numbers.
Well, you know, there's a world where Snake could well be looking at the 1-3-1 type of composition. There's a teleport advantage, but they're diving 957
yeah,
now.
And look at the damage. They're able to burst him low. He's stunned under the turret, saved at the last second, but dies. The chase as it's going to trade over Camille. Top laner for top laner. And the Glacial Fissure will disengage.
The one time they choose to execute, they dive Team WE's tank top laner with no vision on the rest of the roster. They do get a kill. They're able to take him down barely, but they trade their lives for it. That's Baron buff completely gone. Of course, it was just running off in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that was their last-ditch effort at breaking another turret through that, but the remnants of that Baron were fairly lackluster.
And that's where we look to FLICKR and SOFM having the confidence to dive 957. And we've already talked about how well he's playing. Now he's got 2 armor items. It is quite a challenge in order to make that happen, but Snake might be trying to set the momentum.
Granted, the 2 armor items is not going to save you from Guoguo in terms of his damage output when he's playing an AP Galio. I still think that it's viable, and I do believe that, again, I was going to mention this just before the fight, that Snake could look at a 1-3-1. They have a teleport advantage, but why would you do that when you can kill one of the side laners of the opposing side? And traditionally, when a team has a Shen, you don't just engage on the 4-man unit knowing that the Shen can contribute a giant shield and get there sooner. You take out the Shen first. And I think that's what they're looking at right now, Snake, through their draft and through their current execution. It's just that in that instance, when they tried, WE were already there.
Yeah, it's like Jenga. You don't take from the top of the tower. You've got to pull away the support structure at the bottom.
Sure.
So that the tower falls over for the other, you don't? All right, okay, 27 minutes into the game, 17 kills between. Look, you and I play a very different style of Jenga, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
2 minutes in. Do you play to survive, or do you play to knock down the enemy team?
I play to survive.
The enemy player. Oh, yeah. That's no fun.
We're very different.
Alrighty. Well, still, it looks like they're doing it once again. The turret eats a lot of damage from FLICKR, who just turns and finishes it off. No need for Snake to dive him this time. Am I the only one that does that?
I have no idea. Dude, when I play Monopoly, I play to live, and I know that's the wrong decision, so... Damn houses.
It's the hotels that get you.
Yeah, that's
ones
true.
that sneak up on you. But still, 15 seconds before that Baron is back up. WE now find themselves behind Snake. And while we don't have Broadway purchased just yet,
we are at a 3-item spike, though, especially through that middle lane. Look at the difference in farm between Guoguo and Xie, and now think about the carry potential out of those individuals. If your Galio is building full AP and he hasn't been unlocked to farm completely, then he's going to be significantly weaker, and he may well die when he is caught out of position, opposed to the tank that's able to live for an extended period of time. And this is Snake's conscious decision. They have said that we are giving farm to Camille, to FLICKR, and we are going to give the exact same resources to Crystal. He is still going to CS, and he is our late game insurance policy. I think they've slept on Guoguo here a little bit with their lane assignments. This could come back to hurt them. For the most part, though, they are in control.
Still putting up a great performance for his team. 4-1-2, 1,600 gold behind Xie in that mid lane, but Like you said, a lot of that gold on FLICKR and Crystal right now. But Xie is big. He's just finished his Infinity Edge. Mystic has finished his Rune-Ons.
And a Mountain Drake in 10 seconds as well, so all of this pressure around the mid lane is just having priority of the lane, clearing the waves, ensuring that your opponents can't push with that. But note, whilst there is a Mountain Drake, Baron is also alive.
Andre dashes forward, tactical sweep misses, but it's 4 versus 5. 957 is sitting in base. He still doesn't have any magic resist purchase just yet, gets himself a Spectre's Cowl to try to survive Gogo a little bit more in these fights, but like you said, it's just a constant tug of war.
FLICKR's level 17, man. You look at Celestial, he's level 12. There is a 5-level difference between the top laner of Snake and the support of WE. That's a one-hit type of material right there.
It really is.
Note that Celestial, from that position, has actually gone towards a stopwatch. He knows that he's not going to be super tanky in the next fights, and his job is to save people, so he's going to get a very efficient single item, of course, that single-use item. Still try and be relevant in the next
fight. He's got that locket as well to try to keep Mystic or Magic safe, as Mountain Dragon now picked up by Snake. 4 Elemental Dragons. WE, they actually are able to find a lapse in the vision of Snake. They turn on to the Baron. That's Teleport, but it's 5 members of WE, and Teleport is completed for FLICKR.
That's a big win to get the Teleport, but WE went to the Baron without setting up their mid lane wave, so they will still lose a turret from this. The overall trade is very negative from Team WE, but they do get the Teleport, so in the long term, that trade works out wonderfully for them.
Now the package has just been picked up by WE. They could look to try and collapse again, but Snake, so conscientious of it, take the turret and just back away. The dragon has already been taken as...
He just took his Krugs. Magic's tilted. You just saw tilting live on air.
He's 2 and 4 right now.
But he just threw an axe at him.
After how far behind.
You don't just throw an axe at your teammate unless they.
I mean, you can see 957 has a bit of a smile on his face.
He doesn't regret a thing. You fiend.
255 CS down behind FLICKR, but still able to contribute in these fights. At least he has lately. We'll have to see if he can in these upcoming battles, because he will certainly need to, considering that level 18 Camille snare hits Xie. SOFM, spotted by the Phosphorus Bomb, is not able to toss out that Glacial Storm.
Xie's being very sly at the moment with his positioning. Of course, having that package is trying to bait some big spells onto him so that he can use the cleanse, get himself to safety. SOFM was very reserved, didn't bother using the ultimate, of course, with that cleanse available. But the package will subside, so everything comes back to square one.
Mystic is really stepping forward here. He's hit by this snare, but Hujie is the one who backs away. FLICKR has no way to get on Mystic for now. And it is a scary day when you put your AD carry in front of 3 people and your team in between the Camille and not the 3.
He's almost taunting them.
Yeah.
He's stepping so far forwards, trying to make them use the ultimates on him, but he's got a Tahm Kench just sitting behind him, so it's not that simple. You can't just walk up and use the Sejuani ultimate anymore. And through this delicate affair, Snake, they are still controlling mid lane okay. It's equal as that stands. They know 957's about to appear bottom lane by the wave. They've got pushed in. So finally,
they engage. That's Mystic. He's saved by Celestial. Hero's Entrance doesn't knock up, but the chase onto Xie. Look at the shield, and FLICKR is going to drop into the Guardian Angel. Gogo chases, but Xie kites it back out. SOFM with the stun. The front line of WE is holding down the fort. 957 draws a line in the sand, and despite the massive burst, nobody goes down. Curtain call. Mystic is going to start taking bullets, but they have so low health. Here's the big number 4, and Mystic soaks it. Hujie not able to concussive blows, and WE find a kill.
That's so risky with the health bars. WE have got Snake still trying to push forwards. You'd have to imagine they get the Baron here. If they're not able to get the kills, though, it feels dangerous. Teleports are there. Still stepping forwards.
Undertow, that double ocean is doing work for Snake as they are getting so much health back. Mystic is still trying to trade off magic. Oh, the dancing grenade.
Oh no, that is the jungler gone as well. Snake, SOFM's just walked back his cleared top wave. It may just come straight back over to this Baron buff. And at the very least, I would expect them to sit inside the pit, but they're choosing not to. They're choosing to play it slow. They're going to be patient with this. They've got 25 seconds until the Olaf is back alive, and it looks like they want nothing to do with the worm.
Not for now, at least. But this is already turning into quite the explosive matchup between WE and Snake. 4 dragons to 1, and Elder Dragon will be coming up soon. Oh boy, we are well and truly into the late game now, Rusty.
Yeah, we get to see what happens in the top lane, of course, as well. It was a dancing grenade you mentioned that was able to secure a kill.
1, 2, 3.
So much damage. Killed all 3 minions before. We're back. Baron's on.
Teleport onto the Baron as Flandre starts it off. SOFM 957 is over the wall, and Snake are going to try and burst it down. There's no answer just yet. 2,000 health, and it is picked up. Knock up onto WE as they try to chase in, but Guoguo is on the side. He's still got his hero's entrance as Snake are going to try to get out of this without losing anyone. Flandre is split from his team. They've managed to catch Mystic, but he just waits out the stun. Another snare, and Snake are going for the long affair, the long engage, and they get the Baron. Looks like they're going to stop some recalls here. Maybe look for a lucky kill.
There we go.
Celestial holds down the line.
The team just hugs each other while Celestial stands in the front, pretending he's Braum. They all get away. WE do not die. Snake do not die, but they all have the Baron buff. So a complete advantage does go over to the Snake side here. In their home arena, they're able to push forwards, and you would once again hope to see a strategic play from Snake in this instance. Knowing they've got the Baron, knowing they can control the minions in the side waves, utilizing the Galio and the Camille as a combo, whether that is going to Shen, which is hard to do, or catching someone else unsuspectingly on a side lane. Corki has often been doing that. The opportunity is there. They can 1-3-1 if they want to do that as well.
And now with 45 seconds on that Elder Dragon timer, if they've got lane control, they can set up and sweep out the vision from WE, then just fall back into the darkness of the fog. WE will have to find themselves starting to panic here. Can they keep their cool? Again, this is the Elder Dragon team. This is the team that has been known for losing gracefully, giving up as little as possible, then taking a late game team fight and winning the series. We haven't seen so much of this strategy in 2018, but they're going to need it if they want to try to turn this game back against Snake.
I don't know if they can contest the Elder Dragon right now with the way that Snake have set themselves up. Camille's pressure on the top lane is massive, and she's actually rotated down. So instead of threatening the structure, they have highly prized this Elder. Now note, of course, the 4 dragons buffing it very strong.
Oh, yeah. And immediately, they don't even try to set up the waves. They just push up mid, top, and bottom and rush onto the Elder Dragon. Question mark pings, but it's already too late. Snake now find themselves with Baron and Elder Dragon for a whopping 225 bonus true damage per damage tick from Snake.
Now, I will say there is only 1 minute remaining on that Baron buff, so there's a small window of opportunity to use the prize double buffs of the Elder and the Baron together and try and find that victory or that pick or that team fight or whatever it is. But I don't think they're going to get full usage of that Baron buff at all, because they use the Baron to get the Elder, and if their priorities lie around getting that Elder, then they want to get picks and they want a team fight, and that Jhin does damage.
Mystic gets hit by a lot of damage with the curtain call. Guoguo steps forward to zone them off of the turret, and look at how quickly it's broken down. The 4th bullet is soaked as Mystic is back on the fountain, but the inhib line is broken, and still 40 seconds on that Baron.
They use it to a great degree of success, just running straight in. WE don't even look towards mounting a defense, and they can't. Crystal steps up and hits them once. Galio threatens with the flash taunt at every moment as well. They're trying so hard, and they may be able to defend this one, particularly from the Baron buff, because there is no banner of command.
Next wave is on the way in. Xie, Valkyrie's forward, but Hujie with the door holds down his team. A good 4th bullet from Crystal tries to break it away, but still, it is only a matter of time before Snake finally crash in the flash Shenton. I can't even say it quickly as they dash into the fight. Flandre is in, but it's a front to back reset. Mystic steps up, stun, locks onto 957. They're gonna kill the tank. Flandre dives into the back. Xie tries to escape. Hero's entrance, he's shielded, but dies to Guoguo. And WE, they've lost 1 carry, they've lost 2, they've lost 957, and they have lost the game, Rusty, as Celestial goes down, and that is the ace.
Snake able to walk forward, get themselves the Game 1 victory, their last best of 3 at the Chongqing Arena, and they start 1-0 up against Team WE.
In front of the passionate fans, the roar will continue. Snake turn around their losing streak and finally take a Game 1 win.
It's about redemption. At least for the first game, they do still need to close out the set, but to go down 0-2 against OMG, the worst team in the league, is embarrassing for Snake. You can't afford to do that at home. And it's the game before playoffs. You want to show that you've got good form and that you've redeemed yourself after the big mistake you made earlier in the week.
And again, if we take these 2 teams into playoffs with their current standings, they will both be on the same side of the bracket, 2nd and 4th. And this very well could be a preview of a round 2 game just next week. So perhaps a bit of a statement from Snake Esports, a team that has never won an LPL title, saying, hey, we have our own arena, we have our own fans, we were able to go first for most of the split, we will not fall.
And FLICKR had a very good showing in this game as well to speak for that. Something that seemed to be missing from Snake in a couple of weeks just gone. He started the split off strong, but FLICKR was losing it. And this is a good example of the fact that he has still got it. Being able to team fight on a champion like Camille is impressive.
Yeah.
And the way that he was able to navigate all of those team fights was incredible from FLICKR. He utilized the Gwogwod combo that they had for themselves. And even Crystal, you know, it wasn't the best start from him, went down in CS, but it didn't matter too much in the end. He was still going to be super relevant, and they scaled up nicely. So I am happy to see that performance from Snake individually. On the opposite side, you're looking at Xie, and you're like, he did his best.
He tried.
He tried
really
his absolute
did.
little heart out to carry them over the line, but he could not do it.
We gave him a Corki, we gave him all of this CS. What's he doing? He's doing his hardest. He's doing his best to try to turn that series around.
There's not enough.
It just tragically was not. That said, our analysts are ready to break down that Game 1 win from Snake.
Thanks, guys. We'll take it from here. Yeah, I don't know what was going on over there, but man, that was that game. I feel out of breath. I'm just here like hyperventilating. That was such a close game up until the very last team fight.
Yeah, real talk. We normally come back to the desk and we're like, oh man, such an exciting game. And it's just like putting on like these weird smiles. No, that was actually a really cool game to watch. The trading back and forth, especially in the early mid game, I just sat back. I was like, finally, some nice League of Legends. I feel like we had our broccoli early on, and now I got like the full on cake.
Yeah, exactly. We've already had our appetizer and we got into this fantastic game. Let's start this one off Champion Select though and take a look at the compositions that the teams were running. And you know, our questions coming into this, we spoke a bit about this last series as well. Are they going to play around SOFM, or do they look towards another objective to play around being Snake?
And what they ended up doing was playing around SOFM, which is great. I always loved Snake's style, but the problem was they hadn't been playing it. They'd been leaving him out to dry. Now, looking at the draft phase, the fact that they prioritized the Sejuani and the Galio, also something that I've been crying for Snake to do for so long, particularly that Sejuani. They kept reaching for things like Olaf. I get it. Olaf is a very strong jungler in the current meta. We're in patch 8.5, but it just doesn't work for Snake's style. SOFM likes to be farm heavy, he likes to make counter ganks, not necessarily proactive ganks, and he likes to team fight in the late game with Snake. They have one of the longest average game times of any team in the LPL. Olaf is not the champion that fits into that wheelhouse. I have no doubt that he can play it in solo queue. I have no doubt that he could style on kids with it, but not in the LPL. So first and foremost, the band-aid to grab the Galio, to have the Sejuani, I think is beautiful for exactly what Snake's win conditions are as a team.
But the irony was, like, on Sejuani, he was less of a herbivore and actually turned out to be more of a carnivore because he started killing Magic over and over and over again in the early game. Yes, you could probably say that it was maybe Magic's fault for us. I know that's what the words that could have come out of your mouth, but it's the kills that he got.
If the Anaconda's mouth is open and the deer keeps running into it, who's really at fault here? Like,
Fair.
Magic was just, he was trying to contest buffs and camps that he should not have contested. He'd, like, have vision of SOFM walking into his Raptor camp. He'd have died, be a level down, not have the correct item bind. He'd be like, you know what I should do right now? I should definitely run back and fight that guy immediately after he's beaten me. That'll work.
Yeah, it didn't work,
It didn't work.
in the end. That was the answer to that one. And that just turned into a fight in the mid lane as well, because all those lanes started to pile in on top of each other on the jungle fight, and then we just had a massive explosion of action so early on into this game.
And the important thing is that Team WE did initially come out ahead. After SOFM really ran the early game in the jungle, Team WE got that mid-game fight where the Shin came down. You know, it was right on their ultimates. Xie had incredible breakpoints very early on. I think it was an 11-minute Trinity Force.
Yep.
Very well farmed. The caster talked about it on the day. But the problem is that their composition really was supposed to take off at 20 minutes, which we did see some adaptation from Varus's build, you know, trying to counteract the health stacking, trying to go for more of a late game oriented build, because after winning the mid game fight, there was then that incredibly pivotal 22-minute team fight, and if Team WE had won there, they probably would have snowballed and closed the game. But because they didn't, you're then looking at a composition that's going to outscale you, and this is the moment for WE. And look at their items. They are incredibly strong right now. They should 100% win this fight if it's on fair footing, but they massively misplay it, walking into that choke point, having Camille flip over the wall because they don't have the flanking vision and immediately delete the backline, and losing here not only loses them the Baron eventually, but effectively loses them the game.
And it was one more chance maybe late game, but it's them playing from behind of your WE, and all eyes were really on Shea. You saw him get to 4 items. It's like, okay, can they hold in the base? But you're absolutely right, because of the gold advantage then picked up by the Baron, by the towers, and just that massive gold injection. In the end, Snake were able to just lock down the AD carriers, the big carriers of the team, just blast them with the Galio.
And again, it frankly goes back to the jungle picks, the Olaf versus the Sejuani. If you have a composition that really peaks at 20 minutes with your Corki and your Varus, you miss your 20-minute window, big fight to make the momentum, and then you're stuck with the Olaf. The Olaf, who was literally 1 in 3, just getting kicked around in the jungle, he's not going to have the same scaling potential, he's not going to have the same utility as someone like a Sejuani come those big 5v5s. And suddenly, you know, Galio's freed up, he can go more AP, because you still have this big, massive, beefy front line, and Snake's composition, we're just like, we can sit back, we have 4 dragons, so the Elder is going to mean so much more for us. We got the first Baron, so we can wait for the second Baron and then capitalize on the adjustments to this buff. Like, Snake were in no hurry. They knew as soon as Team WE had failed there, onus was on WE. You guys have to do something to turn this, otherwise, see at 35 minutes, we're going to win.
Yeah, I really honestly just love the change-up that we saw from Snake here today. The fact that they played around SOFM, and in fact, SOFM himself will be picking up our man of the match in this one. And you're absolutely right. I do feel like Magic walked into the jaws of the abyss right now. That was SOFM, gave him a bunch of kills early game for him to play around, but still, it was a change-up in style that we saw from the team, and then SOFM capitalized.
You cannot stop this man. You can only hope to survive and contain him. Now, the thing is never take SOFM head-to-head. If you want to see the blueprint to undoing Snake, it starts in the lane phase. Kick Guoguo off of Galio. Do not let him use that champion, which is a perfect band-aid for a lot of Guoguo's problems. Guoguo is inexperienced, he mispositions. Galio is a very tanky champion, which has the ability to reposition himself and also helps out massively to SOFM. So when SOFM is making his invasions, suddenly Galio, boom, right on top of him. It's a 2v1 scenario. Kill that champion. Don't let him have it. And then suddenly you can start exploiting SOFM through his laners.
This was the perfect time as well for Snake to really step it up. Yes, they kind of had those losses over the last couple of weeks in series, but they really needed this one. This is the series that they really need, because if they don't, then BLG will just snag second from them.
And frankly, and we were talking earlier in, you know, fairly fictitiously, but this idea that you don't want to face Invictus Gaming, that people might be trying to sandbag so they can get on the easier side of the bracket, because one side has WE, RNG, and IG. If Snake play in that type of form, I mean, frankly, that looked good enough to take on Invictus Gaming.
They could beat a bunch of teams, especially with Invictus Gaming dropping a game against Suna Gaming as well. However, we are going to take a quick break before we get into our second game in the series.